Yeah,
I thought
okay.
you were doing that
I
already.
think I think we're all showing up.
Okay. Here's this. So I did. All right.
See, yeah, and we're coming online on our channel.
Craft
Hurrah!
Pots, StarCraft, Hearthstone, and then Overwatch.
Overwatch. Whoa, commercial.
Overwatch. Ah! Oh, and Diablo. Fuck.
Wait,
Almost
you haven't
forgot Diablo.
changed the title yet?
No, it should be changed.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought you were just talking about it now. It's like I just went live. That
No,
means I
I'm
tweeted
working
out the
on
wrong
some
name.
notes just so I can kind of keep track of where I'm at. Going down the list of things that we mentioned. So we're going to talk about Call of Duty. Just basic initial impressions. Sean, you're going to be really helpful for that because I don't think either of us have played it yet.
You know, my review is done. It's gonna be going up tomorrow.
Okay. We don't need to. I mean, we don't need to go that far into it because I think we
Nah,
can.
of course.
I'd like to do a like quote unquote review episode at the end of the month, just of all the games that came out in November, and then we
And
can
I'm just
talk game
randomly
of the year
interrupting so I
stuff.
can just hear my levels real quick and
We
continue,
can
Drew.
we can talk like game of the year stuff in January. But I
Yeah, of
wouldn't
course.
mind kind of talking like as we go through the next few releases, like our initial impressions, and then go into because obviously I'm going to talk about Halo on Podcast Evolve next week, but I'll definitely like to talk about it with you guys next week also. Um, are you picking it
I
up,
who
Master Chief Collection? You,
who
Sean?
me? No,
Yeah. Oh, okay. I wasn't sure.
no. I'm gonna get. Well, I was hoping to get Assassin's Creed next week, but I fucked
Mm.
up and I forgot to remove Call of Duty from my GameFly list.
Oh
So they
shit.
sent it to me, but it still hasn't shown up like Shadow of
Oh
Mordor.
no.
So
Yeah.
now, like, and then I sent back. I tried to send back
Dude, this
Sunset
is one of those moments
Overdrive.
where you spend that extra money for the month and get a second disc out so you can get it out there in time.
No, I have two discs, but the problem is
Oh
that I had
shit.
Sunset Overdrive, and then I sent Sunset Overdrive back so I could get Assassin's Creed, but I didn't send it in time. So now Monday's going to come when they're shipping out Assassin's Creed. I'm not going to get it. I've already written GameFly this long, pissed off email about how
Swag.
this is bullshit.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, well, it takes 7 days. I'm like, no, it doesn't. I've rented 28 games, and 26 of them have come either in 1 day or two. Like your distribution center is in
Mm.
Long Beach.
I'll
It's
be right
30
back.
It's like
minutes
right
away
down the
from me.
road. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
bullshit. Huh. Okay. All right. So I didn't think there was any Diablo news, and it doesn't really sound like there is. No sort grindstone type stuff. So, Sean, I dropped the Overwatch trailer into the Skype chat. Just the CGI thing. Just as like a person who likes Pixar and stuff like that, you should probably check that out because it looks really fucking cool. It like I showed it to Caleb from Smartwatch, and as we were watching it, he was like, "I just want to watch this." He's like, "I just want this to be a show. I don't want to play a game about this. I just want to watch like these characters and stuff." And it's just like this short trailer. It's pretty cool. Let's see. I think
So
I
you're
got
gonna drop it
everything
in the
here.
Twitch chat?
I put it in the Skype chat, but yeah, let me throw it in the Twitch chat. Just because I want people to check it out. I know this game might not work for everyone or whatever. It looks more interesting than Battleborn or Battle Cry, and it doesn't have the word battle in it, so that's also helpful.
Is that Battlecry one the Deep Silver game?
No, the Battle wait,
Or are you
fuck, where's the
talking
Deep
about?
Silver? Battle Cry is Bethesda's like melee MOBA.
Oh, okay.
And then Battleborn is 2K's first-person MOBA thing that they're coming out with. But this is like you said, it's basically Team Fortress. I mean, it really does look like Team. It's like Team Fortress mixed with a MOBA because MOBA it has like way more characters and and not exactly classes, more like each character is individually different.
Alright, I'll have to scope it out.
Yeah. The gameplay looks really fast and interesting, but
they've actually shown gameplay now?
there is gameplay out. Yeah,
Okay,
here, let me
sweet.
toss some gameplay out there too. IGN actually has a ton of gameplay trailers for each of the characters that have been announced so far. They've had 12 characters announced. So there's actually a lot more out there than I thought there was going to be. When I first heard about it, I was like, oh, we won't see anything else on this for a long time. And then like all this stuff got uploaded. I was like, holy shit. Right,
just gotta close my patio door. Hang on.
That's code for something. Alright, here's, let's see, is this...
Alright, I'm settled. I'm ready.
Pixar vibe.
What's up, you early birds? And by early birds, I mean people that are on time, putting up with our late-ass nonsense.
For sure. Yeah, here, I'm almost ready. Let me just put this order down in my notes so I know kind of what we're going to touch on when. So Call of Duty, BlizzCon, GTA, Nintendo Direct, and then we can plug the Halo stream and then get into Fallout 4. Does that work for everybody? Did I leave anything out?
No, somebody's calling me. It's probably somebody for a meeting of some kind. Hang on 1 second.
Yeah, go for it, man.
Hello. Hey, Jess. Good, what's up? Yep, that's fine with me. Okay, see you then. Bye. Broadcasted live.
That's right.
Could you guys hear Jessica?
No.
Oh, bummer.
Unfortunately. Alright, I'm ready if everybody else is. How do we sound?
Okay. I hear a bit of echo on my end. I'm not sure if it's coming through the stream or not, though.
How do we sound on the stream?
We sounded
People
good
in the
earlier.
chat?
I'll listen right now. Hang on. Yeah, no, we sound good. There's definitely a faint echo, but maybe it'll tighten itself up and go away.
Yeah, that happens, oddly. Alright, tweeting this bitch out.
I'll make sure I turn my headphones down as low as I can so my mic doesn't pick it up.
Swag. Okay, here we go. What's up, everybody? It's Rated M for Podcast, your favorite video game podcast, part of the Rated M Gaming Network. Today is Sunday, November 9th, and I'm your host, Drew. Joining me, as always, is our lovely Christian, Canadian, Jewish Jesus. I just made all that up.
I am all of
Rory,
those
what's up,
things,
dude?
in fact, though. What's up, everybody?
That's it? Just gonna drop it there?
What? Didn't I say enough? What happened?
No, that's good.
Where
That's good.
are
I
we?
like it. I don't know who's what's going on. Forgive a little bit of echo. I think we got some echo in this episode, but that's gonna be fine because we've had much worse in the past, and our listeners are weathered podcast veterans who know how to deal with such things.
Nobody should have to deal with it.
Also joining us is also lovely, not so Christian, definitely not Jesus, Sean.
What up?
What up, Sean? How you doing, buddy?
I'm
Okay, cool.
it's something
Moving
we'll
on.
talk about. We'll talk about that after the podcast.
Sounds good. Sounds good. So we're gonna kick it off like we always do. We got a great show ahead of you. We're gonna plug some stuff and get all meta and talk about hype and amazing things. So we'll start off like we always do with what you're playing. Rory, what did you play this week, dude?
Shit. I was like, don't pick me first. Don't pick me first. Um, I played more Sunset Overdrive. I played some Volgar the Viking. That game was kicking my ass, but having a good time with it. If you don't know it, it's one of those 16-bit retro side-scrolling games that some folks not gonna
Sean
name.
would fucking hate.
Sean's turning up his nose right now. He's already muted the podcast. But yeah, it's violent, it's fun, it controls well. There's some good mechanics with the armor and sort of like leveling up. You sort instead of having like a normal health bar, there's like no HUD on the screen, and you find these chests which grant you new pieces of armor, and with those pieces of armor you kind of get an extra hit point for yourself. So you find a shield, and then you find a badass helmet, and then you find the chest piece, and then you find the flaming sword, but you only get to keep finding those better items if you're still wearing the current item that you have, right? Does that make sense?
Wait, so in my
you get
mind,
hit, you might lose the
like
helmet,
slap
you get hit
more
again,
and
you
more.
lose a shield, etc.
I was thinking like slapping more and more armor on, so you got like 14 shoulder pieces just like strapped on top of each
You'll
other.
never get there, man. It took me 2 hours essentially. I think I was live streaming it, and me and my friend spent about an hour to an hour and a half. Didn't get to the first boss. Didn't even get to him. Finally made it to a checkpoint in it, but never made it to the first boss. And then it was just haunting me. I had to go back, and later that night I restreamed it and managed to get to the boss, and then finally beat the boss. Hurrah! Cool thing about that stream though is that by chance one of the developers decided that he wanted to go on Twitch and troll people playing the game, and he ended up on my channel just hanging out. So that was pretty cool. You
Is
never
that
know
what was
who's
going
gonna
on?
pop
Yeah,
in.
that's cool. I saw that you said that you had a developer on there. I was like, wait a minute, is that the guy that was sitting next to you? I don't think that was.
No. No,
Yeah,
he was
I was
just.
like, wait a minute, I missed something.
It's funny because it came through the Call of Duty issues that were happening with people not being able to connect or download the pre-download, or I know some people were having issues with that too. And that's the reason he was on Twitch. He just couldn't play Call of Duty when he wanted to, so he decided to come online and see who was having
That's
a hard
pretty
time.
rad.
But it was pretty cool.
Weird, cool. Sean, what'd you play this week, man? All right.
Sorry. I'm muted.
I just want to make sure.
I played a little bit of Sunset Overdrive. The humor didn't really click with me. There was like one joke that I thought was really, really funny, but everything else is I don't really get into like the fourth wall breaking, like, oh, check it out, we're gonna make you go on fetch quest because it's dumb. But then they send you on fetch quest.
Right.
It's like, well, just because you know it's dumb doesn't mean it's not dumb to send me.
Do you think it would have been interesting? I know that's a complaint of, well, just an observation of a lot of people. Do you think it would have been interesting if they would have done something like, oh, we're gonna send you on fetch quest, and then like during the fetch quest something fucking totally different happens, and it's like it completely derails your fetch quest, and then is that kind of what you were hoping for, or just not that fourth wall?
I mean, I don't think there was anything I was necessarily hoping for. It's just something that when you see when they tell you that it's dumb and then they send you on fetch quest, it doesn't make it any less dumb.
It doesn't make up for it by being clever.
The traversal was fun. The combat was pretty fun. I didn't get to finish it because I was, like I said earlier, I was trying to get Assassin's Creed from GameFly, so I sent it back. And then I played Call of Duty Advanced Warfare.
And your whole life changed.
No, it didn't.
Oh.
It's a good game. It's hard. It sucks because Sledgehammer is doing something different, and I appreciate that. And when the campaign, it's like frustrating because you're like, I have this cool new toy, but they still Call of Duty you and funnel you into corridors, and it's like, but I have this cool toy, I want to use it, and the maps aren't designed to really use that much. And I was hoping that they would, the level design would complement the exosuit, but instead, like before every level, you have the exosuit, and then it tells you what it is that you should, like what it is you can use on your exosuit. So it'll be like you'll have like 3 out of 3, but like, so the boost jump won't even be something you can use on every level. So it's
Uh?
kind of frustrating like
Yeah,
that. Yeah, it was.
I've heard about that. Yeah. So I'm curious. Why don't we look at these two and kind of combine them? Sunset Overdrive is built from the ground up for its toys that you get. Were you kind of hoping that it was something like that, where like, hey, they're gonna have to drastically overhaul how they do campaign missions if they want to give all of this stuff to the player? And it sounds like I have heard that there are like the missions where you do get the stuff, you use it. Like the level is designed for that stuff, but it doesn't exactly give you freedom of choice of how you approach levels. Is that what you're looking for?
I'm sorry. Repeat the question.
Like, were you hoping that they would give you these toys and then you could choose how you use them to do whatever it is needs to be done in the mission? Kind of
It
like
was
Batman,
just.
right? Like Batman gives you all this stuff, and you use whatever toy you want to get around. You use whatever tools that you've unlocked at that point.
Well, you get, you like after the mission you get like bonus points that you can plug into your exosuit.
Okay.
So you'll reload faster. It's like having perks. It's like your sprint is 10 times faster. It's just a lot of like, those little things, they always carry over, but like the things like boost jump and overdrive, or you get a grappling hook for some levels. It's like, these are cool things that I think they should have made it so that you can approach the levels the way you want to,
Right.
but they still Call of Duty you into
Grapple
following a
to
dude.
that ledge, Mitchell. Mitchell,
Yeah.
go over there. Why aren't you going over there?
Basically.
Yeah, that sucks. Well, that's Call of Duty, man. I mean, I guess they didn't break it too much. I guess they didn't change it so much that it's unrecognizable.
No, it's not unrecognizable. And then multiplayer is a lot of fun. The traversal definitely, the movement definitely changes things up a little bit. But at its core, it's still Call of Duty.
Okay. We'll talk a little bit more about Call of Duty here in a second. I played some Destiny. Surprise, surprise. It's probably going to be a while before I start talking about like playing new games. I just don't have the money. But I think I've found a new reason to want to play Destiny, which is funny because Halo's coming out and I will be playing that. I'll be talking a lot about that. Mostly on Podcast Evolved. I'll try to spare you guys from all my Halo boners. But Alex Hirsch, one of the guys here in the network, just got an Xbox One yesterday, and he bought his Xbox One. He got it for $250, so good on him. He bought his Xbox One, brought it home, downloaded Destiny, and immediately jumped in the raid with us that night. Like, because he'd been playing on 360 and he moved his character over. And it was so awesome playing with, a really good friend of mine on the Xbox. Like, the whole time he's just walking around like, guys, no, seriously. Guys, this looks so good. They were like, no, seriously, you don't even understand. And we're just like, no, we know, man, it looks good. And he's like, no, you don't. You don't understand. I've been playing 360 for like 7 months or however long Sean's been playing Destiny. And it was really cool to kind of like get excited about it again with him. And have someone there who's excited. I think so, with my ear to the ground with the Destiny community, I think everyone's kind of bracing themselves because the mass exodus has already started with Call of Duty, and then they expect the rest of that exodus to complete with Halo coming out on Tuesday. So a lot of the community is like nervous. They're all like you'll see people on Twitter going like, "Stop leaving! No, shut the doors! Don't let everyone leave!" Like it's getting too not like people are too excited about other games, and it cracks me up because it makes me think about like how some of these people are kind of new to paying attention to this kind of meta, like where players are playing at the time. This is just how this works. I mean, look at Halo 4. Like Rory, you saw it. Halo 4 like just disappeared when Call of Duty Black Ops 2 came out. Like the whole just everyone stops playing that game. And that's kind of how it goes, that's how this time of the year goes. So I'm excited to keep playing Destiny now that I have like friends kind of getting into Xbox One, and they still enjoy Destiny and they're still trying to, check it out from that angle. But I look forward to hopping on Halo and not having so much of a reliance on one game. So let's move into news. I wanted to say that we were talking about Call of Duty a minute ago, and the first thing that I wanted to talk about was that Call of Duty is out. It got an 83 Metacritic, which I feel is pretty good. I meant to look what Ghosts got. This is generally a positive response, though, right, guys? Like, have you seen much negative criticism of this game yet so far, Sean?
Not from critics, but from the community. There's a lot of people who are pissed off that they changed it too much, and they said it doesn't feel like Call of Duty. Um,
That's inevitable, though, right? I mean, when you need to evolve a brand, when you need to change it and stuff, the diehards are gonna get mad.
yeah, I mean, you can't make an omelet without breaking some eggs. You know what I'm saying? Like they had to take risks,
Absolutely.
and that's going to upset some people. Just like look at the hellfire and brimstone, just because the beta of Halo shows ADS. People have
That's a rumor. It's leaked rumor footage.
well, one of the guys already said that
right.
it's.
Yeah, I forgot about that. It's just
One of the
animation, though, right?
Yeah. No, well, I don't know. They said it's just cosmetic, but
Yeah.
I don't really see the point. But
Well, so
whatever.
the weapon in question is the battle rifle, which has always had a scope. So scoping and ADS are kind of the same things. It just looks like they've opened up the scope, so it's not just a scope, but maybe a targeting reticle or iron sights.
Yeah.
That I think is what's freaking people out, because the animation looks like ADS, but what he was trying to explain was like, this isn't ADS. And I think the main problem that people have with ADS when it comes to Halo is left trigger is grenades. Period. It's like, or unless you fuck around with your controller scheme, and then that's different. But like zooming is not new to Halo and Bungie fans and all that stuff. I think it's just the fear that the Call of Duty-fication of Halo continues or whatever after Halo 4.
There's no momentum breaks though, right? I think they came out and said as well that like you're still going to be able to continuously move and get around the map fluidly while popping into that. So it's definitely not one of that like run, stop, aim, kind of shoot things. It's going to be pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's not to belabor the point. The point
Sure.
is just that people, when you change something that people are used to, they reject it. Like it's a lot of people didn't take to Titanfall because they're used to playing Call of Duty, and that mobility turns them off, or whatever the case may be. So I personally, I like it. I haven't really delved that much into it as much as I'd like, but it's fun. I mean, all the game modes are the same. It changes the way you play a little bit because now they literally come from anywhere. So it changes on how you play the game, and it makes it a little more back and forth. As somebody who liked the early Call of Duty, like Call of Duty 4 and Modern Warfare 2, where you can really control the map and keep an enemy pinned down. And then even on the same reverse of it, I liked being pinned down so I could figure out how to get around it and flip it and take opportunities and poke a hole in defenses and stuff
Sean,
like that.
you're not going to say anything about or Rory, you're not going to say anything about how Sean likes to get pinned down? Really?
No, I was seriously thinking about it. He was even like, poke around.
You're so lazy right now. I was going to let you
the wheels
talk
were
about
spinning.
Sean
I was
likes
like,
to get
oh,
pinned
you know
down
what?
and
I'm
around.
staring at the chat. But thank you for calling that out, because I definitely was thinking about jumping in there.
Anyway,
Yeah.
So, yeah, I like that kind of, but this is just way more like, basically the fight is always constantly over B, and you're always going to be like, wondering, where is it going to come from? They have some tools in place, like when you level up your say you level up your you can level up your score streak, so you get a UAV, and the standard UAV does the thing it does. It shows the enemy locations. It pings the enemy locations for a short amount of time on the map. But then there's another level up where it shows their direction, the direction that they're facing.
Oh, that's good.
Kind of like the Blackbird. It shows them as an arrow. And then there's another one that kind of acts like active radar pulse in Titanfall, where it shows a ping of their location through the walls. It's just not as frequent as Titanfall, so it's like, it's kind of a risk reward. You're like, oh, there's a guy through that wall. I can go over there. He might not still be there. So it's kind of fun like that. It changes things up.
So, speaking at it from a kind of a bigger picture, Do you feel like this has gone well? Do you think this is going to continue? Call of Duty's position of where it is in the first person shooter genre and in the industry, or do you feel like this is kind of a shift?
Well, I mean, I don't know. First of all, Activision hasn't made any bold claims. The game's been out for 5 days, and they haven't made any kind of like big claim
That's a
like
good
they
point.
usually do.
You mean like they did with Destiny?
Like they did with Destiny or every Call of Duty prior.
Right.
So that hasn't happened. And then there's the fact that, this is Sledgehammer. Treyarch has a new game coming out in a year that is probably not going to have exosuits and all that stuff. And it's going to be probably a more grounded, called return to form, so to speak, for Call of Duty. And then God knows
they're going
what,
to quote unquote return to form that quickly though.
What I mean is like Black Ops 2 is a ground combat game.
Yeah.
And I think this is going to be a ground combat game. I don't think there's going to be all that traversal and all that stuff. So,
that'll be interesting.
So I don't know. I mean, it's kind of this problem that Call of Duty has because, each game each developer wants to put their own stamp on it. And, who wants to, for the longest time, Treyarch was seen as the Me Too the B team. And then with Black Ops and Black Ops 2, they kind of became the A team and Infinity Ward became the B team. But now I would say Infinity Ward is probably the C team because they have a lot of goodwill to make up for Ghosts. A lot of people didn't like Ghosts. And, not to say it's still not a popular game. I mean, I could be just speaking from only the vocal minority, but it seems to be a pretty loud vocal minority. And then you have the Metacritic scores and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they're going to take all that to heart and they're going to try to make the best Call of Duty game they can possibly make. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to predict these kind of things because, everyone said Ghost was not good, but it was in the top 10 for the MPDs for 10 months. So
yeah, that is true. And that is weird because, I haven't heard so this year, I think when it comes to tournaments and stuff like that, maybe this is just because of my position, but I've heard a lot about all the Halo stuff going on at all the conventions and PAX and all this stuff. They've done a great job of kind of putting themselves out there with ESL and that there's more to talk about with that. And then, Invitational and all these other things. I haven't heard a lot of Call of Duty MLG rumble, so to speak, in a while. And I was wondering if Ghosts was even on that level or if they were just not even paying attention to that. I don't know how that scene goes. So I'm really curious to see how Advanced Warfare plays it. If MLG guys or tournament guys even use Advanced Warfare, how the fuck with all the changes to the game, I'm really curious how that goes. So let's move on.
Let's move on to the emergency that Holbert might be having in the chat. Wife, 2 cats, a Chiweenie dog, all passed out in the living room right now. It might be gas.
Oh my god. I just hope it's not his gas. That wasn't your doing, was it, Bill?
Holy shit.
All right. I think we're gonna drop Sean. Sean, you got.
Yeah. I got some personal stuff I got to take care of. I just wanted to chime in and talk about Call of Duty a little bit.
Yeah, we squeezed the Call of Duty out of you. We've used you. We don't need you anymore.
Oh, shit.
Thank you guys. I'll be back next week on a full show. Hopefully there won't be anything too crazy. So
no worries, man.
All right, guys. Thanks.
All right, we'll see you next
later.
week. Take care, Sean.
All right, later.
Man, I thought Sean was gonna be around to round out for the main topic. Oh, this is gonna be trouble.
Wait, what is the main topic?
Fallout 4, but I think we're gonna get some help from the chat for the main topic.
Yeah. All right, guys. Take it easy.
All right, so BlizzCon.
Fill me in, Drew.
You with me, Rory?
Fill me in.
All right, so I'm gonna go down the topics from BlizzCon. So BlizzCon, if you don't know, Blizzard, the makers of World of Warcraft, StarCraft, Diablo, all those top-selling games. Hearthstone's major game this year.
Are you saying if you don't know to the listeners or to me?
To the listeners.
Okay, I was about to slap you upside the head. Come on, Drew.
So the first thing on the list here, the Warcraft movie. So World of Warcraft has a new expansion coming out, and so when it came to news at BlizzCon, they were like, "Hey, y'all know what's up." Warlords of Draenor actually comes out next week, so there wasn't really a lot of stuff to announce there. So the Warcraft portion of the day was focused on the movie, and I want to say they showed assets. There was no more trailer or anything. There was no on-set stuff that I'm aware of. But the quote from Duncan Jones, director of Moon, was Avatar and Lord of the Rings at the same time. What do you picture with that? How do you think of this? Are you excited by this? Is this something you want to see or what?
You know what? I'm into big, epic fantasy style movies. So Duncan Jones has proven himself to be like a solid director. I mean, Moon I fucking love, but what was the next one with Gyllenhaal called? Um,
Oh shit.
that
Was
was
that the
him, right?
time one? The where he kept going back in time, or am I
Yeah,
just
on the
making that?
train. I could be wrong. I thought that was Duncan Jones. I thought that one was like okay, but the guy's got talent, man, and I'm hoping he's gonna make a great fucking movie. Like I'm excited to see it. When I hear Avatar meets Lord of the Rings, I don't get some very specific image in my head. I just think it's gonna be gorgeous to look at. It's probably gonna have great music, sweeping, big, epic shots of battles going on, high quality special effects, and hopefully some decent acting, and of course, great direction all around. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm excited to see what that first trailer is, regardless if it looks like I just want to see a good movie, man. So I'm hoping it's good.
Yeah,
This, it has
yeah,
it
and
has the
so
right people behind it to maybe finally potentially break the curse officially and give us something that's like
right,
legitimately
right,
considered
exactly.
not just a good video game movie, but a good fucking like fantasy epic, something that can go
We
next to the Lord of the Rings and films like that in
we had an
the
episode a couple months ago, where we had a touch on movies, and we were gonna try to make that a segment, but I think that's something that I want to do when it comes to new movies coming out and just touching on like how's that going instead of the whole trudge up the old shitty movies.
hmm
And I think this is like we were talking. There's got to be that movie that transcends and pushes it all forward. When are we going to get our Spider-Man or our X-Men or our Iron Man, right? For the comic book movies, when are we going to get that for video games? And I don't think we've had that yet. Resident Evil and Silent Hill and all that stuff are not it. And I think this hopefully could be it. And I think that so people have been wanting a Warcraft movie since fucking like Warcraft 2. Like the CGI, I mean Blizzard is notorious for making insanely detailed and perfect CGI cutscenes and trailers. Like we
Yeah,
talk about Blur with the Halo stuff, like Blizzard's been blowing people's minds with CGI stuff for decades now, like for like
totally.
20 years.
When I was really
So,
young, it was the Blizzard stuff, and it was the stuff
yep.
coming out of Square and Sony for the original
Oh yeah.
Final Fantasy, and even like the Tecmo guys or the Techno guys doing the stuff. Like,
The, the football stuff?
no, it must have been
Oh.
like the team Techno, right? Or is it Team Ninja and who is it? Tecmo?
Oh,
You know what I'm talking
Tecmo
about?
Koei with Tekken, or are you talking about like the Tekken cutscenes
Yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff like
yeah. Just all
Yeah,
that
those were
stuff, man. But mostly the
I remember
Square
those. Yeah,
stuff and Blizzard for sure.
Tekken 3 videos with like Brian throwing the tank and all that. Um so this is like people have been wanting a Warcraft movie forever, and this is one of those franchises that you don't just pop out a Warcraft movie and go like, "Oh, that works." Like it has to be perfect. And it's the same thing with Halo. That like this is why we haven't seen a Halo movie yet is because it's got to be perfect. And it just blows my mind that a Warcraft movie is coming. Like it's actually coming. It's not something that they're like, yeah, we're planning on hopefully making this thing. Like it's real life happening.
Oh yeah, they're
And
deep into post, man. Like that thing's
yeah,
that there's no
I'm
turning
fucking
back.
stoked. Like I really want it to be good. So why don't we move on with BlizzCon? Heroes of the Storm has a beta in January. I'm pretty excited about Heroes of the Storm. MOBAs as a genre are really picking up over the last year or two. In the greater video gaming community, MOBAs have been around forever, but everybody's making their MOBA, and finally Blizzard's wading into the fray. And right now there's the big two. There's League of Legends and Dota, Defense of the Ancients. Well, Dota 2 now owned by Valve. So people are hoping that this makes the make it a big three. Like they're hoping that Heroes of the Storm is the other one.
I gotta try one
And
of
everything I've
these
seen so
things
far is
called
just
a
pretty good.
MOBA someday soon.
Right? Yeah, I've been wanting to get into it. I downloaded LOL to my laptop like months ago. I started to get into it, and I was just like, I don't know what the fuck's happening. My problem is I try to play it like Diablo, where you just run in and kill shit, and that's not how that works. You will die. Um, you really need someone to kind of walk you through it. Like it's kind of like any of the other burgeoning scenes, like Minecraft or the survival stuff, like Rust and what was the zombie one? DayZ. Like you don't just pick those things up. Like you need someone to like really show you the ropes if you want to understand what's happening. And I feel like MOBAs are kind of the same way. But the thing with this one, Rory, let me kind of pitch this to you.
I'm listening.
This is Blizzard's attempt. There's a trend here that you'll see across all of this here in a minute. This is Blizzard's attempt at making a MOBA that anybody can pick up and play. Like that's the goal. They want it to be friendly.
Yeah, okay.
But
it's just like when I hear that, I always I wonder about like the people that like love the series and are hardcore into it. Is it going to be a game that they're still going to like fucking love, or is it going to be something that's just like
I think so.
trying to cater to this mass audience? And that's not what
the way you do it.
Go on.
Well, the way you do it right is the way they did Diablo and World of Warcraft and stuff like that. It's still a deep experience. There's still ways to get, sucked into it, but making that entry point low enough, like making the barrier to entry low enough that anybody can pick it up. Because League of Legends is playable by anybody, but you really you're gonna get stomped. The community is really mean, like it's a vicious thing, but it's the most played game in the world. So there's a reason for that. The concept of MOBAs is something that I think anybody could learn, but it's how the game teaches it to you. And I think if anybody could perfect that, it would be Blizzard. I mean, they know what the fuck they're doing when it comes to introducing a wide audience to a very deep and crazy thing. I mean, look at WoW. So I think this could be the way to get on. This is what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping that this is the MOBA that I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna check this out. Because for me, one of the things about MOBAs is the heroes. That's why it's called Heroes of the Storm. That's why they're calling it that. Is like MOBAs have heroes instead of like player classes. So you want to learn each hero, and LoL has like 100 or 200 heroes or something, much like Pokemon, where you get into that one hero or this group of people that you select every time. And for Dota and LoL, they just make shit up. Like in one, they just make up their own characters. In one of the MOBAs called Smite, which is coming to the Xbox One, I think that one they're all like Greek gods or something like that. They're all gods. So there's like Zeus and shit like that. So at least you have some kind of identification of who this person is. With Heroes of the Storm, they're using all of their IPs. So you have StarCraft characters, you have Diablo characters, you have Warcraft characters. Like,
all right, that's kind of cool.
That is the hook for me. Yeah.
The thing is, like, the reason that these games just don't appeal to me is the simple fact that like they're fairly large scale in the sense of just like, I mean, it's a multiplayer game, right? You got to be in there. People are leveling up. People seem to be putting a lot of time into it and dedicating themselves to like a game. And just, like, I don't do that. It's not my style of gaming. Like, I want to pick up my game, play something with a story, maybe have some free roam, dabble in a little bit of multiplayer, and then next, let's go.
Yeah, it's a complete opposite of that.
Yeah, totally. And that's why I think I just haven't jumped into that stuff, man. It's the same reason why Destiny, once I hit around level 20,
to kind of learn about.
I was like, okay, next game, time to move on, because I'm just not about collecting gear. Like, getting a new piece of armor means so little to me. Like, I'm like, whatever. Whatever. Shiny sword, what do I gotta do? I gotta do these 80 missions and fight this boss 100 times? No, fuck it. So
that's so funny, man, because we're at the network, we're working on a new show that we're kicking around ideas with my friend Alex that I was talking about earlier.
Loot and Lore.
And Loot and Lore, man.
I pay attention.
And it sounds like the first half of that you might not be interested in. Like, here's this real rad piece of loot, and here's how you get it. Here's how you get this gun at Borderlands. And you're just like, skip. You're like fast forwarding to the other half.
Yeah, pretty like, much. It's just a personal thing. I totally respect people's love, adoration, all that for that type of game, and loving to grind and level up and find the next piece of armor. But for me, it's just, fuck it, man. There's just way too many games to play. I want to just go through them. It's
so far, I think MOBAs don't have. There is no MOBA that I know of that has like serious focus on lore on the other half of that equation. So yeah, I don't know if you get into this type of thing, But anyways, moving on. StarCraft 2, real-time strategy games.
StarCraft 2. Wow. Man, that's a long time coming, isn't it? Holy shit.
It's been it's been out. It's been out. They've had Wings of Liberty was the first one that came out, and I think it was like 2010, I want to say. And then they did Heart of the Swarm. So they have two HOTS. That's the funny part about Blizzards. They have Heroes of the Storm and Heart of the Swarm. So now people get confused. They were wondering if the expansion for World of Warcraft was going to be like HOTS as well, and then people were going to start wondering like, what's with this HOTS thing? Anyways, Legacy of the Void is the final expansion for StarCraft 2, and people have been waiting on it for a while now. We've known that it was coming for a long time. No one knew when it was coming. I think there's a date. I didn't write it down. But they announced that the expansion is a standalone purchase, which I think is interesting. So previously, in any StarCraft, Warcraft, or World of Warcraft, or Diablo game, if you want the expansion, you have to buy the core game and then buy the expansion.
Mm-hmm.
So with Legacy of the Void, they're like breaking away from that, where you can buy Legacy of the Void and play all of the Legacy of the Void content and play multiplayer with everyone with just that purchase.
Do you think that's going to be
smart.
A trend not just with Blizzard but with other publishers moving forward more and more? Because we've seen it with like the Infamous stuff too, right? Even on PS4, and I'm sure there's other examples that I just aren't coming to the top of my head, but there's these games out where you can play the added content without owning the original game. It's like a standalone little DLC pack.
I think so. I think it's because people like publishers are realizing if you put that barrier to entry. See, I think that model is like just an old mainstay of how PC gaming worked back in the day and how console gaming worked back in the day. But now I don't think it. I think it's just not necessary, and so people are starting to kind of change how they do their models with their games.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a good example.
I like it. I like that model. I would like to see more people do it, because like even with the Infamous thing, if it's like I mean like I'm into the Infamous series, but if I wasn't that into the Infamous series, but I knew it's like, oh, but I can, get this little piece here and play this for $10 and see if I like this little side story mission thing, and then pick up the full thing. Like, I don't have video game stores or anything like rental shops near me anymore, and I don't want to be bothered with like GameFly and stuff. So I just like to buy my games, and then if it's something I'm not going to keep, I get rid of it. But
so the other big news about StarCraft 2 is they announced a 2-player co-op mode, which I didn't really look into it, but I would have to assume it's either the story or maybe a like third mode. So basically, StarCraft's always campaign. The campaign teaches you the ins and outs of the game and gives you the most ridiculous CGI cutscenes and a pretty hammy story that's classic sci-fi stuff. But then the multiplayer is like its own genre of video games. Like StarCraft 2 multiplayer is fucking bananas. There's Barcraft, go Google it. I mean, StarCraft 2 multiplayer is up there with Counter-Strike and Halo and Call of Duty as far as I can tell, and Dota and stuff like that. As far as like it's a worldwide phenomenon.
Mm-hmm.
But it looks like they're adding a new mode, and they're adding a mode called Archon mode, and it's a 2-player co-op thing. So I'm interested to see how that works out, because I've always wanted to play StarCraft with a friend of mine, but he only wants to play multiplayer. And I can't. Like, I don't know what the fuck. Even if it's us versus the computer, like, I'm not fast enough. I don't know. I haven't done enough research on, like, what order you build shit and stuff like that. So I'm wondering if this Archon mode is, like, more of a fun thing to do. It's interesting to see games that are, like, long time established introduce a new mode. So
the only
we'll see how that
StarCraft game
turns out.
that I personally got interested in playing never actually ended up coming out, and that was the StarCraft Ghosts, I believe it was called.
StarCraft Ghosts, man. Yeah.
I was like, whoa, because I always liked like the vibe and the
that
aesthetic
original
that
Xbox
StarCraft
game
sort of had, like the art and stuff, but it just wasn't my type of game. And then I saw that they were making this kind of like third-person StarCraft game.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, I'm in. But yes, alas.
Ghosts was fucking cool. So, the next game that we're going to talk about, Hearthstone. I have like family members who aren't even gamers at all, addicted to Hearthstone. Like my niece, who's like 26, she's got a kid, and she just got married, and she's busy with her life and stuff. She doesn't care about video games. Her mom, my sister, like raised her just to stay outside and never go near the TV, and they didn't have cable for years. And then my Sega Genesis like just changed their whole lives for a while, and then she got rid of that. And like she doesn't play video games. She is so into Hearthstone. Like she understands Hearthstone inside and out, and it just blows my mind. So Hearthstone has really transcended mobile gaming like stigma in a way that I thought was really cool.
Well, that doesn't surprise me because like I haven't got into it myself, but it just when I look at the game, like to me it just looks like an iPhone, iPad sort of style game that if you're into solitaire or Bejeweled or whatever the hell, all these other like weird card
absolutely
games and
nothing like
diamond
that at
games
all.
and shifting iPhone games, Candy Crush, all that. Like to me, it just looks
It's
like a
nothing
more
like any
deep,
of those.
intelligent iPhone type game. But I'm not
Do you know
knocking
what
the
it is?
game.
Though?
I'm sure there's way more
it's
to
Magic
it.
the Gathering. It's a CCG. It's
Yeah.
a collectible card game, and that's the beauty of it. It is really accessible. It's very nice looking. The presentation is very high end, but it is like incredibly deep. Like you can just go on forever with this game. So there's an expansion coming. That's the news here. There's the first expansion for Hearthstone. They did put out a dungeon or a raid or whatever you want to call it. Kind of using the World of Warcraft term for it. This year, but I think that was free or something. This is an actual expansion that adds like hundreds of cards to the game and does some other crazy stuff. It's called Goblins and Gnomes, or Goblins versus Gnomes, and that's coming. And let's move on. Diablo 3, fucking nothing at all at BlizzCon. Like apparently the Diablo team is like, nose to the grindstone, working on Reaper of Souls and just taking feedback and making it the best game they can. And in my mind, I really think Reaper of Souls is the pinnacle of Diablo 3 so far. So making it better is cool with me. And then the final thing that we're going to talk about with BlizzCon, and then we're gonna kind of move on because we're running out of time. Overwatch. Holy shit! Everyone listening to this, go Google Overwatch CGI announcement trailer. Go watch that. You're gonna think you're watching an announcement for the next great Pixar movie. Like it's so good. It's got great character. It's really funny. It's really cute. It's got lots of action.
I might watch it after
fantastic.
the stream.
It's so good. And then the gameplay, the actual game that we're talking about here, is basically a Team Fortress 2 looking game where everybody, like, you get all these different characters and they all have these different attributes. Like one character, you're running, say you run down a hallway, come around a corner, shoot this guy. Her power is to rewind back to the point that she started from a second ago, and then you can go do something else, and that guy still died.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, her name is Tracer or something like that. And
Cool.
She has in the cutscene she's like really fast. In the story she just zips around really really fast. She like basically teleports. She's basically Quicksilver. But in the gameplay, the way it works is like I don't know if you initiate it so that it keeps track of where you like go back to. I would assume that's what it is. Where like say you're on a spawn point or whatever, and then you hit the button and then you run and you do a bunch of stuff. And then you like rewind back to where you were, and now you can go do something else. And all of the things that you just did still happen. It's fucking cool.
Yeah,
there's lots of different characters.
Can you do that over and over and over again? So like, could I play a whole match? There must be limits on that.
I don't know because
you could run a whole match like that. You could kill some dudes, rewind, go a different path, kill those guys, rewind, kill those other dudes.
So your rewinding doesn't rewind everybody else. It just moves you physically back to where you were.
Back. Okay.
Yeah, in like really fast. And you can't attack while you do it. Like from your perspective, she dual wields pistols, so she like drops the pistols and her hands are just kind of out, and she rewinds back, and it's
I'm getting a better picture of it. It wouldn't make any sense whatsoever if you could rewind the whole game in an online environment as well.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Cool. This is it's a 6v6 multiplayer, objective only based first person shooter. So, and I think there might be third person elements as well, but it is basically Team Fortress without Team Slayer. There is no like team deathmatch element of this, which I think is really cool. It's all objective based. They've announced 12 characters so far. I'm sure there's going to be more. And the thing is,
team deathmatch mode at the moment.
I wouldn't be surprised if they never put it in there. I think their goal is to push like, hey, this is a team thing, work as a team. It's cute though. It's got like a really cool sense of space. In it's got really cool art.
This is a PC only
It's
game.
as so they said we would love for Overwatch to be played on any device it could be played on, but right now we're developing it for the PC.
All right.
So in other words, they're gonna make it. They're gonna. I mean, this is a new franchise for them. This is the first new intellectual property IP from Blizzard in 17 years.
Holy
Like,
shit, it's been a while.
yeah,
I guess
that's fucking
Hearthstone doesn't
crazy.
count because it's World of Warcraft stuff, or
Yes,
okay.
Hearthstone's in the Warcraft universe, and HOTS is Heroes of the Storm is all of the
Right,
the
okay.
previous IPs. So a little tidbit, a little piece of news that I saw from IGN in a panel at BlizzCon when they were talking about Overwatch, they did confirm that Titan, what Titan was, turned into Overwatch. So what Titan
Oh,
um,
okay.
was not fun for them. They didn't like it. They didn't like where they were trying to go for it. That was going to be a sci-fi first-person shooter MMO, and they decided to make this instead. And they said that there are elements that they borrowed from ideas that they had for Titan. And so in my mind, I read that as like, yeah, we had these characters or like these archetypes or these ideas for gameplay, but what that game was not this. And now they decided to make this instead.
Yeah, cool.
So that's BlizzCon. Um,
A lot of
the next
stuff.
piece of news is pretty fucking crazy. We could talk about it very briefly. We can skip Nintendo. We could
What
talk
is
about
it?
the stream, and then we'll talk about Fallout. GTA has a first-person
Yeah.
mode
Yeah,
built
yeah.
from the ground up for GTA 5 on the Xbox One and PS4 and PC. Holy shit, man, this looks amazing.
Yeah, I'm excited.
What are you most excited for here? I think the thing that blows me away, like the detail that really got me when they were describing it and they were showing cutscenes, is that every car has a different dash. Even Gran Turismo 4, I think, didn't even have interiors into their cars.
Yeah, no,
Like I know that's totally different, but I mean it's not even comparable because there's way more going on in Gran Turismo like graphically with the physics and blah blah blah. But still, this is incredible. Like when you're in first person in your car, if your character like pulls out his phone, he picks up his phone and looks at it like while he's driving. Like
yeah.
fuck,
You're gonna
what?
see everything now. Like I was reading a developer like interview, and it's just the way he broke it down and the new animations and everything that's in there. It's not like a lot of games when you're doing first person, they seem to like pop onto vehicles and there's like a disjoint when the animation begins and then the player takes complete
Yeah,
control again. Like you'll
right.
see like your hand smash into the glass and then him fiddle around with the wires underneath and the head going up as the dash lights up and
Oh,
but
it's so cool.
it's not even those details that like excites me. I mean, it's part of part of the reason why, but it's the whole new feeling that this game and this universe is gonna have. There's always a little bit of a disconnect with the player and the character in Grand Theft Auto because it's sort of a third person game, right? It's that the different feeling that you're gonna get when you're not playing something in first person. And with Grand Theft Auto being first person, I think it's just going to be this it's I don't know, it's going to be so visceral. It's no longer going to be this like, hey, happy fun, disconnect, there's a
Yeah.
character. It's going to be from like
Yeah.
my perspective running around mowing down civilians. It sounds disgusting that like I'm looking forward to doing this, but I don't think I've ever played a first person shooter that's going to allow me to do what I'm gonna be able to do in Grand Theft Auto now.
No.
Like
And
I'm
you know
really
what?
fucking excited about that. Just I want to feel what it feels like to be in that world. Look at all these new amazing details and play from that
Yes.
perspective. I'm pretty excited about it.
And it like when I heard first person, there was a rumor. When I heard first person in GTA, I was like, oh, it's just gonna be like the camera. You're just gonna cycle through and be like, oh, now I'm first person. They there's so much more that goes into that. Like you have to model the guns from that up like that close. You
Oh,
have to
dude, they
put them in the
rebuilt
right
so
spot.
much
Like
stuff, man,
the
from scratch,
shooting,
and like fixed
everything.
up all kinds of stuff. It's the work that Rockstar are doing on this port is similar to me on the scale of what like 343 and the guys are doing with Master Chief. I mean, it's not quite that
Thank you.
level, but it
Yes,
isn't just
I would
like, hey,
totally
we're
agree.
up-resing some textures and we're doing a little updates here. Like they have overhauled that game to a level that I was not expecting. It's insane. It's hats off to those guys, man. I'm picking that up for sure.
Yeah, I'm stoked. So, in your mind, does this like make the fact that we don't have heists yet okay with you?
100%. I'm still annoyed because like before
So
the
much
game came
work.
out, like
There's so
heist.
much work gone into this.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
heists are still like what's really appealing and exciting about online Grand Theft Auto to me is like getting,
Not
you
to
know, a group
me.
of guys
I
together
know I
and
must be weird,
planning
but
this
like
thing
the
and
the excitement and the anger and the fury around the lack of heists completely perplexes me. Not from the like I get it from the like principle standpoint of people saying like they said it was going to be here and now it's not. Like I get that. I get that dumb rage. But the like just a simple like oh man everything's going to be great once Heist shows up. I don't feel
no,
that way
no,
because
yeah.
you know how fucking hard it is just to coordinate a simple like game night of hey everybody let's get together and play some games on GTA Online. Like that's hard enough. Like I never got more than like 5 or 6 people together for GTA Online for Rated M. Now granted that was like almost a year after the game came out,
It's
but
still an exciting mode though, right?
it's
To
still
like that got me hyped
yeah,
that mode.
it'll be nice to see something new, but in my mind I'm like you know how fucking complicated that's going to be? You're not going to want to do that with randos. You're not going to want to do that with like people who are unprepared or whatever. It's going to be it's kind of like raids for me
Yeah,
in
it could end up being like that for
in
sure.
Destiny. Like you can't do a raid with randoms in Destiny without like wanting to kill every child you see for the next week. You're just like fuck everybody. Why can't we just go through the thing and shoot the stuff and then we'll be right back and like
Yeah,
it's so funny. And to me, I think heist is going to be really complex and you're going to want that communication. You're going to want to be able to play with people that you know what you're doing.
100%. It
So,
doesn't. It doesn't. It's as somebody that's was there at launch of Grand Theft Auto and was hyped for heist though. It doesn't make it any less disappointing that they're not there.
no,
Like
I
maybe it turns
definitely
out to
yeah.
not be all it's
Like
cracked
I
up
get
to be,
that
but
upset,
yeah, no, that first person mode, dude. Like I
That's
if
so
I
fucking
still
crazy.
yeah, I was kind of on the fence just because I don't rebuy like re-releases. But I
Yeah.
thought because I don't have Grand Theft Auto 5 on my PS3 anymore, I'd like to have at least a copy of the game somewhere. It's coming out. Yeah, maybe I'll grab it, but not right away. But just that first-person mode, man,
Yeah.
that fundamentally is going to change the Grand Theft Auto experience at its core for me. Like, I'm going to be playing that game 100% through in first-person mode again, no question.
All right. So, Nintendo, do you want to talk about this? Did you see anything that really upset like got you excited besides Majora?
Well, no, and I'm not even super excited about Majora. Like, it's great that if fans didn't play it back in the day, they can play it. It's not one of my favorites, but I
Cool.
totally understand why people love the game. It's one of the few
Yeah,
Zelda
like
games
when I
that's like,
first heard they were redoing it, I thought it was going to be this Wind Waker thing, like Wind Waker HD. But then I saw, oh no, it's just going to be on the 3DS,
yeah, and
and
it looks,
just like
hey,
just like Ocarina.
yeah, it looks nice though. And it's a solid game. It's just not it's like I'm not super excited about that. They did some Smash Brothers like reveal back on the last direct. They showed the Duck Hunt
The
dog
dog, Duck
ducks
Hunt dog. Yeah,
are going to be in the game, and it looks fun. I'm
cool.
playing Smash Brothers right now, and it's pretty cool, but I can't really say anything other than that on it.
Why don't we just do that? We'll just break the embargo and talk about that
Yeah,
instead.
I wish. I wish. But yeah,
I'm
you
just kidding.
guys that follow Rated M, you guys know I've got Smash Brothers in my hand. I'm gonna be doing a review of
It's
that,
coming.
and
Yeah,
it's pretty cool. But yeah, I can't. I wish I could say stuff, but I can't. Um,
sure.
what else was at the direct? They just
Anything
talked a little bit
else
more
out
about
of that?
Splatoon
So
and
Duck Hunt itself is going to be on the Wii U eShop. I mean, I guess that's cool. Neat.
what the original game
Um,
Duck Hunt is.
yes, the original game, Duck Hunt.
Yeah, but how are you gonna play
If
that like properly? Because like even if
so, you use it with a Wiimote.
oh okay yeah all right
Yeah. Yep.
yeah
So
hmm.
yeah, Nintendo guys, cool. So why don't we talk a little bit about what's going on Tuesday real quick, and then we'll dive in. We got about a half an hour to talk about some Fallout, and I think that's gonna be great.
Yeah, it's more than
So
enough time. I can't fill half
if you're
hour.
listening to this live, or if you're listening to this tomorrow, which I don't know what the odds are of that. Tuesday is the Halo launch extravaganza. That's when Master Chief Collection comes out, and what we're doing here at the network is everyone's getting together. We've put out a schedule. We're doing a 24-hour live stream of just everything Halo Master Chief Collection. We've got people from Gaming on Thrones, people from Rated M for Podcast, people from Podcast Evolved and Smartwatch Podcast. We got the No Doors crew. Actually, no, I don't think Alex is getting it. So Alex is just going to be there in spirit. We've got just everybody. We're Lady of Legends, who was on last week's episode, is gonna be playing with Krista from Podcast Evolved, and their segment's gonna be really cool because Krista has never played Halo 1 or Halo 2 multiplayer like online. Obviously, Halo 1 multiplayer wasn't online, but she wasn't there for that. You know, she was too young for that like original experience, and so she gets to play. They're gonna be playing Halo 1 and Halo 2 multiplayer for the first time ever. Like on launch day in the mix with everyone else, and I think that'll be
fun.
interesting. Yeah. So we'll be starting that off at midnight Eastern Standard Time. I'll be kicking it off with some campaign playlists. Come join us. As much as possible, we're going to be getting the community in our games and getting involved. You have a really fucking cool show lined up, and I'm excited for that. Why don't you talk about that real quick?
Who, me?
Yeah, man.
I don't know how cool it's gonna be
Pitch
at
it.
all just yet.
Pitch it. What are you gonna do?
What
do you got lined up for us?
Just trying to mix it up a little bit. You know, we've got a lot of multiplayer happening and a lot of campaign stuff happening. So I'm gonna just dabble with some random campaign stuff for a little bit, and then I'm gonna do a forging with the community segment, and we're gonna build like the first rated M sort of like community map together, or at least we're gonna start the map, and I'm gonna dedicate 2 hours to that, and we're gonna put a timer on and just see how finished of a like cool map we can get with everybody that's watching's input. Those people can jump into the forge with me if they want, and we can start building this thing together. And after the end of 2 hours, we'll just say, okay, time's up, and then we'll invite everybody in, and we'll have a multiplayer match on the map, and just have a lot of fun, make it crazy, make it over the top, and we're gonna give away some prizes too during that segment. So it'll be a good time. Got to mix it up a little bit. We'll see what's up. There might be some surprises over the hours that we're going to. There's like long blocks, but
yeah,
it's gonna be a big, long, exhausting, but really fun day.
And this is anybody listening, like I want to make it clear, like this is so Rated M for Podcast kind of got things going here, and Podcast Evolved has really gotten a great community going. But we're really trying to integrate everything into a bigger network, and we want everybody to kind of at least know who's who. Like, get like, hey, there's Gaming on Thrones out there with Phil, Saul, and Rick, and then like Smartwatch is really taken off. The Division, the actual Division Twitter handle, tweeted about Smartwatch last week, and they usually have like a handful of people, like devoted guys, that show up to their show. They had over 20 people show up to their live show on Wednesday last week. So we really want people to realize that like this is a bigger network. Rated M for Gaming, Rated M Gaming is getting bigger and doing cool things, and we're trying to organize stuff. And this is like our first attempt at coordinating and cooperating together. And I think I'm really excited for Halo to pull everyone together. The healing powers of Halo. So, without further ado, why don't we launch into our topic of the week, man?
Sure.
Are you excited? Yeah.
I'm so excited. And I
want you guys in Twitch chat to help
it.
Rory here with this segment, because Rory understands the importance of the Fallout, but he don't understand the Fallout. You know what I'm saying? He don't appreciate the Fallout. So I know you guys are big fans out there in the chat. So
like let me just throw it out there before we get in though, based off of that little speech there. Like I enjoyed Fallout 3 like when I played it. I didn't play the original 2. I enjoyed Fallout 3. I ended up getting stuck somewhere like 20 hours in, and then I was just like, oh, okay, done with this, next game. And then New Vegas came out, and I was like, that looks fucking rad. I'm gonna play that. And it was so goddamn buggy that I just fucking like basically threw that game out the window. So in the brief
but
time
the story there. You know the reality of that. That was Obsidian. Like that's classic Obsidian game.
I should have known. I know.
We found out this year that South Park Stick of Truth is the first ever Obsidian game that wasn't like a buggy pile of crap
well,
that people really wanted to love.
To be fair and to stay with their tradition of buggy games, South Park Stick of Truth was still a buggy game.
Was it? I don't know. I always heard pretty good things.
It was still.
Oh, really? Interesting. I don't think I knew that.
That was one of the first games we talked about on What You Playing on our very first Rated M for Podcast episodes.
Holy shit, you're right. Yeah. So, Fallout 4. All right.
Yeah.
The reason we're talking about this was there was a rumor earlier last week that like a Fallout 4 trademark had been registered, and then it was quickly turned out that it wasn't. But it was so funny. This happens every time.
Wait,
It's
it
like
turns out it
Half-Life
wasn't
3.
registered? I didn't read that part.
It's not real. It wasn't real. It was registered by some company that just trolls. They just register things to get attention.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't
Those
an actual.
bastards.
Yeah, it was hoax. So, but it was so funny because it was perfect. Just the classic, like the mention of Fallout. The whole internet just gasped and like held their breath for a few minutes, and then within the following hours, it came out that it was a hoax, and everyone was like, "Ah, fuck!" But it just brings Fallout back. Everybody starts talking about Fallout again. Everyone's wondering, hey, are we going to hear about Fallout at the VGAs? We don't even have dates for the VGAs. Like I don't even know if the VGAs are even going to fucking happen.
Oh
The
my god,
VGA.
I want them to happen. I just don't want them to be that disgusting train wreck of a bland mess it
I
was
mean, I
last
kind of
time.
feel like it'd be cool if it was a train wreck again because
Oh
it's
no,
almost
I
become
can't, man. That
funny.
was so embarrassing.
It's almost become funny that it's like it's a juxtaposition of like, yay, legitimacy and happiness and really cool announcements and all this stuff, juxtaposed with just a fucking horrible train wreck of like awkward interviews and terrible jokes and
How
like
do they
really
take such a
bad.
huge step backwards, man? Like a few years ago, it was like big
Oh,
stages, Sam Jackson's out there, there's pyrotechnics happening. Like
yeah,
it
it
was
was basically
crazy.
the MTV Movie Awards for fucking video games.
Oh, I'm
So
skipping
yeah,
a
I don't know, man.
Mike Myers ad. What the hell? Get
Uh,
out of here.
what's happening?
Oh, I'm playing
So,
trailers for Mike Myers.
oh, cool. Um, so Fallout 4 is supposed to, in my mind, that's the next Bethesda game. They made Skyrim in 2011. It's 2014 now. It's about time for a new game. Um, and Bethesda's had a lot more in their chute than in the past.
Yep.
So they've put a lot more stuff out in between Skyrim and now. And when I say Bethesda, I mean like the publisher Bethesda, not the developer. Um, so they put out Dishonored and the Evil Within and some other stuff. Like they're really getting they're turning into a broader publisher. And I think that's great. But the crown jewel is anything Bethesda Game Studios puts out. Skyrim, Morrowind, Fallout,
Yeah.
all that stuff. Fallout New Vegas was obviously kind of I think they learned their lesson with that, putting Fallout in anybody else's hands besides Bethesda Gaming Studios.
Well, hey,
So
gotta give Obsidian credit though. Like in the brief time that I spent with it, and like you guys can probably tell me otherwise if it didn't follow suit through the whole game, but I thought the writing and stuff was better in New Vegas in my brief time with it than the hours I
you like
spent with Fallout
characters
3.
and the situation better. It really felt like, so if you look back at previous Fallout games like the original two, it kind of fit more in with those than Fallout 3 did, mostly because those games all took place in the Southwest, I believe.
Hmm.
So for it to be back out in the desert and stuff, as opposed to like Bethesda, Maryland, um, it kind of felt like aesthetically and yeah, kind of themes and stories and characters, kind of a return to form. I know people really, really love New Vegas. Like there are people that still play New Vegas to this day.
They
It's
must
not
have
a
patched the
bad
shit
game.
out of the
I'm
game then,
not
man,
trying.
because I would be walking and my arms would be coming out of the top of the screen, and characters' heads would be doing like Linda Blair 360-degree turns, and I was like, I can't put up with this shit for a big game, man. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, there was a lot of problems there. Um, but I think that this is the next game. So we're going to talk about what we think. So I want to ask you in the chat, where is Fallout 4 going to take place? When are we going to hear about Fallout 4? And what would you like to see like in Fallout 4? What major differences or changes would you want to see with the music? What do you want to see with the VAT system or the graphics, or what? Do you want it to be in the Skyrim engine, or like just everybody just drop shit. I'm going to read stuff as we go
Drop
along. So
shit.
first things, yeah,
I'll
drop
tell you
your
what I
shit.
want. I want a
First
game
things
that's not riddled with bugs, and I want it to be fun. There you go. As somebody that
It's
hasn't isn't I'm not the type that's like clamoring. I'm not one of those guys that's like Fallout 4, Fallout 4, Fallout 4. But
well,
that said, I'm easily excited and I like good games. So, Fallout 3 looked good enough for me to want to give it a go, and I was really enjoying it until I just kind of like couldn't handle what was going on anymore. I got lost or something, I don't know. So I want to see something that looks gorgeous, and I think it will. I want to see something with some great writing, and I hope they nail it, man. What are you looking for,
so
Drew?
I was gonna ask like specific questions, but yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so first things first. Why don't we start here? When do you think we're gonna hear about Fallout 4 first? Do you think it's gonna be at VGAs or something later this year, or do you think it's gonna be E3
I
or
would.
GDC?
I don't know. It's weird.
Or
Like the video game awards actually feels like it would be more appropriate for some reason, but
that's where Fallout 3 and Skyrim were
it
announced,
just
I
feels like
believe.
I don't know. It just feels like that's where it would be. But I don't know if it's gonna be too soon. Like I think it should be VGAs if I was a betting man, but I'm gonna say E3 instead.
Okay, okay.
If it has to be one of those
So
two, otherwise it'll be a
I
solo,
would
just
kind of
when they're ready.
agree. I think E3. So the way we've seen a lot of bigger titles go lately, kind of saddling up with one console maker or the other. I think Xbox is going to pay Bethesda a ton of money to debut Fallout 4 on E3 Xbox stage. It'll be what they open with
Oh
next
yeah,
year.
I could see that.
Be a like serious thing. They're gonna get the expansions before PlayStation, and I think that just makes sense. And here's why: Fallout 3 did not do very well, or Skyrim, sorry, Skyrim, which came after Fallout 3. Skyrim did not do very well on the PlayStation, and so I don't really know if Sony and Bethesda have the best relationship at the moment. I feel like I heard more about Evil Within from Xbox than I did from Sony. I feel like Bethesda Game Studios, the actual developers, not even just the bigger publishing company, uh, really, really did not like the PlayStation 3. And I know the PlayStation 4 is completely different now. They changed the architecture. They made everybody happy. But I wonder if it's too late for them. I wonder if they had already been like once bitten, twice shy, and they want to lean towards the Xbox. Like they wouldn't mind developing, like making that the lead SKU or whatever. Um, so with all that in mind, I really think that we're going to hear about it at E3. That's my prediction. We'll do E3 predictions, and I'll say the exact same thing.
Maybe that's what the
Uh,
there's that Twitter dude who's been going around recently named like Shinobi something, and he's been right about a couple things, and I just
oh
saw that he
yeah,
posted like earlier today or something like maybe I'll drop some awesome news for Xbox One owners or something like that. Maybe it's Fallout 4 exclusive to Xbox One. Hmm.
I
No, it'll
no,
never happen.
no. And here's why. When you get to make trailers that say from the makers of Skyrim, you know that that's like just adding thousands and thousands and thousands of people's attention to it
Yeah.
because Skyrim sold so well. Like it just blew people's minds how well it sold for, the franchise. Like
Totally.
that
The
like
thing, I'm not
Elder
into
Scrolls
those
is
massive games like that before Skyrim, really. Like Oblivion, I didn't even get through the character creation menu. I was like, nope, too much. But Skyrim,
too
like
much going
I
on
fell in
here.
love with Skyrim, and I was one of those few unlucky souls that fucking put in 100 hours on the PlayStation 3 version, and it slowly and slowly got more crippled as I went along. But I still enjoyed the fuck out of that game.
So the next question is where is Fallout 4 going to take place? Actually, hold on, let me back up. We asked everybody, a bunch of questions. When do you want to hear? When do you think we're going to hear about Fallout 4? Vinman, which is Vinny, the Vins are. We love Vincent. He's awesome. He made the funky bumpers for the show on iTunes. He says maybe E3 next year. Let me see. Did I get any more of those? VGA awards are still relevant, according to Vinman. So I don't know. Maybe we're back and forth on that. But why don't we ask the question? Where is Fallout 4 going to take place? And I'll start with the Twitch chat. And the big rumor is Boston. Like there's like documents that people scrounged up. There's all of the fake announcements and hoaxes that have happened over the last couple of years have all involved Boston because everybody just assumes it's going to be Boston. Don't know why it would be in Boston. I don't feel how that would work. Um, especially because traditionally Fallout takes place in a desert. Like Fallout 3 was kind of an anomaly in the franchise. So let's see, Fallout happening in Boston is a rumor according to LaserCat over from Smartwatch, but Sesame Seed wants to see it in LA or Seattle. What do you think of those? What do you think of those two? I think something iconic like LA or Seattle would make more sense.
I'd be okay with it, but I don't know. Like Infamous just did Seattle. Like I feel like LA has been seen recently in California with Grand Theft Auto. I think somebody in the chat was mentioning London or something. I'd be down for some like UK action for sure. Somewhere in the UK would be cool.
I'd be cool with that. Yeah, I'd be cool with I played GTA London back in the day, and I really liked that adjustment. And Europe as a market is really huge these days, so it would be interesting to see a major Western game, tread on different grounds and get out of this whole L.A., New York, Chicago thing.
Hell yeah. They could. I mean, they could do anything. I'd be happy with any just cool city, man. Even if they wanted to go and do something in like Tokyo or somewhere over in Japan, I'd be like, all right, awesome.
So is that what you would want to see? You would want to see a like post-apocalyptic retro noir Japan?
I'd like to see it, man, for sure. Like take
Fallout.
Take place in the city of take like the Neo Tokyo from Akira and just like crumble it down even more and throw in the Fallout stuff. Yeah, I'd be all over that.
So I think I'd like to see it. So I say this about every like major franchise. I'd like to see multiple locations. Before GTA 5 was announced and actually came out, I was making predictions and writing articles about how I really, really, really wanted to see GTA go into an MMO, almost an MMO size presence, and your game takes place in multiple cities, and then you can traverse back to those cities back and forth. So like you start your story in LA, and then it's for some reason in the story you have to go to Chicago. Now you can go back and forth between Chicago and LA at the drop of a dime, and then like the final third act takes place in another city, which is that makes sense for GTA because you unlock parts of the city in classic GTA games. And it was usually done in thirds. Like GTA 4 was like that. You had 3 different sections of the city. San Andreas was like that. So I was picturing that. So I would love to see a Fallout take place in different areas, and they did that with Fallout 3 with the Pit and Broken Steel and stuff like that. But it was DLC. That wasn't part of the main thing, and it wasn't really anything more than like the Pit was like, take this boat, and now a loading screen, and now you're in the Pit, and it really feels a lot like, which the Pit is Pittsburgh. It feels just like Fallout 3. You feel like you're in the same place, but like it's like a little different. There's like it's murky and weird. I would love to see something that's like maybe 3 different cities in Europe, because Europe's all smushed together.
Mm-hmm.
Like Paris, London, and somewhere in Italy.
I'd be down. Like as a Canadian, and it might be the same for a lot of Americans too. Like we're very familiar. Like it's like when I go on vacation too. Like I'd rather not go somewhere else.
So you don't want to see a Canadian Fallout. You don't want to see Vancouver Fallout.
I want to go overseas with my games more often. I like that.
Yes. Yeah, I think that would be cool. I think that's what everybody's, I mean, Assassin's Creed's coming, and we'll talk about that in the future, but I think people have been dying for Japanese Assassin's Creed.
Did you see that concept art some artists put together?
Oh, for Assassin's Creed? They're doing it. They're doing a side-scrolling, like, Chinese Assassin's Creed game that you get if you get the...
Oh, the hell with that thing, man. The hell with that thing.
I know.
If you guys listening haven't gone and checked
out really good,
that Japanese concept art that some random artist did of Assassin's Creed, go look at it. It is fucking gorgeous, man. It just reaffirms everybody's thinking that it would
People are dying for that. They really want it.
It looks amazing.
So the next question is, what do you want to see in Fallout? Yeah, just what do you want to see? So some of the people in chat said, let's see. Somebody mentioned soundtrack. I don't know if they were just talking about older soundtracks, but I think soundtrack's a key element to the Fallout series. It's something that I kind of found myself missing when I was playing Skyrim. The music and the sound around you is really immersive, but that like being able to kind of turn on Galaxy News radio and just kind of like listen to it just puts you in the setting, and then find like hearing about stuff that you're doing and all that stuff. It just works so well. And I know there was a bit of that in New Vegas too, but Fallout 3's music is really. Oh man, I should have written some of this shit down because I'm like
I like Laser
scrolling
Cat's
through
suggestion
stuff.
here. Crazy
I'm like,
idea. You get out of your vault and you're in space.
You just choke to death and die. It just turns into Total Recall. Be like Skyrim, but keep the hardcore leveling system from Oblivion. So I think traditionally that's what games do. You see the next game in a series, and it's not just like the previous one. They usually try to integrate what was best at the last few that we did. I think it's been long enough between Fallout 3 and between Fallout New Vegas and now, that they would probably learn from, obviously, from Skyrim. You can't not learn from what Skyrim did. Like, they can't not implement that. But then look at what worked for Vegas, for Obsidian, and then look at what made Fallout 3 really popular and just implement that. More songs, great soundtrack, but way too small. I would agree. That's something I've always wanted about some of these open world games is like an evolving soundtrack. I know that's like license wise, that's really challenging, but it is something that I wouldn't mind seeing, especially when you start implementing actual like back catalogs. These songs in this era is so far back that you'd probably get away with doing it without having to worry about licensing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like after a certain amount of time, stuff is public domain. So I don't know. Like Sleepwalker, you know that song Sleepwalker. It's just
Sing
I
it
can't
to me
remember
right now.
why. It's just a guitar. There's no music. It's
Sing
that
the guitar part then.
and I can't even do it. I can't do it. Hold on. I can't remember who it's by. It's something obscure. It's really old like that. What do you want to see in a future Fallout title? And really, Rory, just anything that comes to mind, man. It doesn't have to be like, oh, they would never do that in a Fallout game. I'm talking about like, what do you want to see?
I don't know,
Fallout 4?
like because I'm more of sort of like an action kind of guy over RPG. Like one of the things I liked about Fallout 3 was that I really really enjoyed that VAT system, like targeting thing that they had going. But I also like that I could avoid that and just go in there and shoot like normal. The reality is I use the VAT system like 99% of the time. I I just want to see, like I said briefly earlier, because I don't have a ton of experience with the series overall. I just want to see something with like a really unique fucking story. I mean, this is so cliched. It's like with any good game that I want to see coming out. I just want to see something that's beautiful. I want to see the return of the VAT system, some deep customization, and yeah, I don't know. I just want a fucking good game, man. I'm definitely not the best person to kind of like even make wild theories about what a new Fallout could be, because I just don't have that much experience with the series as a whole to begin with. So it's hard to kind of jump off from there. But I just want to see a good fucking game. Give me a good game. That is
So
all.
Fallout 4 needs to be good. I think
Yes, that's my one
that's it.
requirement from like all developers. I don't care what you're gonna do with a franchise, even if it's my favorite franchise in the world. Like I trust that you're gonna try and make the best game you can, and you're not purposely gonna make a shitty product. And if a shitty product comes out of it, that sucks, and I might be disappointed at the time, in the time, but I'll move on and go play another game. I just want these guys to push themselves, not repeat the same fucking thing, learn from their mistakes, and give me something that's new, unique, and still retaining the things that people love about it. Simple as that.
So, survival survival stuff, hardcore options, making it just a little more challenging. The survival aspect of being in a post-apocalyptic wasteland is something that people are talking about in the chat, and they had that, I think, in New Vegas, where like you literally had to like feed yourself and fix your wounds and all this stuff, or you were going to die.
Yeah, there was a
And
sort of crazy survival mode there.
yeah, and it was way more like that was something that wasn't exactly in Fallout 3. I think that's something they could definitely implement um, in Fallout 4, just to kind of appease the wider audience, appease some of the more hardcore players. I think one thing that I'd like to see, um, is vehicles. Vehicles just feel missing from Fallout. I don't think the original games had vehicles, but at this point, your maps are getting so big, your game is getting so big. Give me a fucking like stupid cobbled together weird vehicle thing that I can use.
I could see
What
that
the hell?
happening. If they're
And
gonna
then if you
build
want to
a
go,
bigger world too, like I would put
oh, for
money on right
sure.
now that you'll see vehicles, Drew, in the next game.
So, I mean, they had fast travel, and that was their answer, and that makes sense. But at this point, like, just why not? And then, like, what else makes sense in a Fallout? Like, when you think about vehicles, make it feel like fucking Mad Max.
Yeah,
Give
totally.
Mad Max the actual game a run for its money,
I don't
and
like that
implement
excuse.
it really.
There's fast travel either, man. Like I don't like using
No,
fast travel that much. Even in Skyrim, that map was fucking huge, and I would say
yeah,
in the 100 odd hours that I put into that game, that like I used fast travel a handful of times. I never would. Then that's the reason I put so much time into the game. I would just be, oh, the marker, my quest is on the other side of the map. I'll put a marker
traveling is
there.
the fun part of
Exactly.
Fallout.
And then an hour later, I'd realize, oh, I'm not even at my destination because I've got sidetracked and saw a cool cave
All
in the
of
distance, and now I'm
so
there.
I
And
Fallout 3 was one of my top 5 games of last generation, and the reason for that was because there were so many immersive stories that I had after playing the game. Finding the vault with all of the clones in it, that was something I want to talk about loot and lore someday. Finding there was this like creepy abandoned building, and you found these recorded things as you went along, and it told the story of the people that you encountered, like the dead bodies you encountered in there and why they got there. And it was like a horror story. You were like uncovering the next chapter as you fought from room to room. And then at the end, the guy that you're listening to succumbs to rad poisoning and becomes a glowing one. And you fight him at the end. And like instead of being called a glowing one or whatever, it's his fucking name, because if you're listening to the recorders, you know who that is. Like that's so cool. You listen to the guy get like sicker and sicker and like people dying, and you encounter he's like, oh, we found this room that had all this stuff in it, and you're in that room, like, and that all took place in a random building that had nothing to do with the story, had nothing to do with anything. I just happened to come across it.
yeah.
And that was one of my most memorable moments of Fallout 3, and it was way off the map. It was like down in a corner that you don't even need to go to.
Yeah, and as soon as I mean, fast travel needs to be there for people. I understand its implementation. I just don't like hearing that as an excuse for not including another way of getting around the map without fast travel. Oh, why? Well, we don't need cars because there's fast travel. Like I don't like hearing that
Yes,
shit.
no, I totally agree. I mean, like, so I think that was something that they completely dropped the ball on with Skyrim. So one of the big running jokes for DLC in the history of DLC on console games is horse armor. They implemented horse armor in Oblivion, and they like charged out the butt for it, so no one
Yeah.
liked it. But why wasn't horse armor or some kind of like stable, or just being able to have your horse without it fucking running off all the time and having to go buy one or steal one or whatever? Like, why wasn't that better implemented into Skyrim? And with that, if you look at that, like, why don't we do that with Fallout? Why don't we have a Mad Max vibe where you cobble together your own thing, and then like the obvious, maybe some kind of co-op element, like maybe implement a co-op element, and then you can have your post-apocalyptic motorcycle gang.
Yeah.
Like, that'd be so fucking rad.
I'm into co-op for basically like all open world games of the Fallout type and the Skyrim type, and even for like GTA. I love co-op. I want to see it in more and more games. There's certain games I will never want to play co-op. Games like Last of
Sinsanity in the Twitch chat said, "Here's your solution: robot horses."
Us. Hey,
Ride
you
horses
almost
with
get
two-
robot horses with the Link implementation in Mario Kart. He's got a motorbike
my
that looks
God.
like Eponia.
Oh, that's horrible. Spoilers. Bill in the chat says, "Ride horses with 2 heads in Fallout 4." I think that actually makes more sense because they're mutated. Ride some like mutated robot cyborg horse.
I'd be down with
Yeah.
that.
So Fallout 4, we're pretty fucking excited for it. When do you think it'll come out? Everybody in the chat, give me like month and year. And if you want to put a date, go for it.
I'll say
what-
that realistically, it's probably a 2016 game, but because I
Okay.
like to make ridiculous wagers, I will say.
Yep.
Well, I'm not even gonna like wager anything really on this, but
Summer?
I'm gonna say that they're gonna developers are going to smarten up and they're not going to announce stuff like way too far in advance. So we're going to hear about it at E3, and then they're going to blow everybody's lid and say that it's available of holiday 2015. But now that I'm saying that out loud, that's fucking stupid. But I guess I'll lock it in, Bob.
All right, we're getting 11/11/15. I don't think that's a Tuesday. I'm not totally sure. That probably wouldn't work, Bill, but I like it. I like the date because 11/11/11 was when Skyrim came out. So
Yeah, I'll probably I've made my bet, but I'm gonna lean with Sesame and think that's probably more realistic when he's saying March 2016.
Sesame is saying March 2016. I would like to see it come out in not the holidays, because when you think about, these games are such an investment. They're such a huge investment.
Well, you got to think it's busy. Think about what's already coming out next holiday too, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
We're gonna have next the Halo 5,
Halo 5,
probably Uncharted
maybe
4,
Uncharted.
probably
Yep.
Tomb Raider.
Yep.
A lot of big hitters.
Yeah, I think it would be really cool to have it in March 2016, if not March 2017, because
That's too
like
far.
period. It's too far for you. It's too far.
Even as somebody that's
We've
not
gone
like
far.
frothing at the mouth like a lot of Fallout fans are. That just seems way too far. If they're like going to announce it, next E3, and I don't know. I just feel like they've got to be farther along in that game by now.
I mean, I would agree. I would totally agree. Don't get me wrong. But I'm saying like the March, the spring, or even summer time frame, like to have a Skyrim to chew on when there's nothing else around, to have a Fallout game to chew on when there's nothing else around.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I think spring's 2016 sounds pretty good. A lot of people in chat are saying that sounds great. Sinsanity suggests 15/15/15. I don't think that works, but I don't know what planet you're from, so I can't assume too much. Bill reminds us all in a very pragmatic way that Bethesda always releases games in November. And that's true, but I think there's been enough time between Skyrim and now, and we're in a new generation. Things are different. I wouldn't be surprised if they switch things up
Fresh
here.
start. There's a first time for everything.
That's true. The Elder Scrolls Online is still coming to consoles. Don't forget.
Is it?
Yes.
I haven't heard anything on that in a long time, and somebody else was just talking about it. And I was like, is it even still a thing? Like.
Yes. That's still a thing. They're still working on it. From what I understand, I feel like, I've talked about this in the past. I think the Elder Scrolls Online coming to console being pushed back makes sense because they had to learn so much to fix that game after it came out. There were too many exploits. There were too many problems. They've been learning, and they've really, really been working with their community.
I thought the Elder Scrolls Online was going to be one of those games that they just stopped talking about for a while, and then they quietly just was like, let's forget about that.
They're like, hey, Elder Scrolls Online is free to play now. Oh, and we're not putting it on any consoles. Sorry.
Yeah.
Nah, they put too much money into that game. I mean, just look at that fucking those Blur trailers, man. There's some marketing budget there that they really need to get back. So I think the fact that it's been long enough from when the Elder Scrolls Online released to when it will eventually be on consoles, I think it'll be like a rebirth for that franchise, for the Elder Scrolls. And not saying that the Elder Scrolls and Fallout are going to bump into each other, but I don't think that they would want to release Fallout immediately after the Elder Scrolls Online, because you would just lose so many people that would maybe consider buying Elder Scrolls Online.
Yeah.
We'll see. I think fall next year is too soon, but would be fucking fantastic, but would also be horrible because, God, so many good games are going to be out next year. Like I said, and I will keep saying, and I will keep pounding into your guys' head, E3 2015 is the E3 for this generation. It is the E3 that will tell you everything you need to know about this generation, where we're going, what franchises are going to be awesome. We're going to see stuff that we've never even heard of, and that's going to be like it. So if they announce it for fall of 2015, fuck, that sucks. If they announce like spring 2016, that would be rad, because like we've said, here in the chat, people are saying Sesame wants 3 to 4 uninterrupted months with new Fallout, and I would agree. So we'll see. I think we've talked about as much as we can about Fallout without actually knowing any more. I'm ready to wrap the show. Are you ready? Are you ready?
Yeah, sure. Let's bring up Master Chief one more time.
Yeah. So don't forget Tuesday, Master Chief Collection's coming out, and we're going to have a 24-hour stream. If you missed that stream, if you are listening to this in the future, you don't know what's fucking going on. Our goal is to put as much as possible of this stream onto YouTube. So the Twitch channel is twitch.tv/podcast_evolved. That is the Halo podcast of the Rated M Gaming Network. If you want to learn more about Rated M Gaming and what we're doing, I can't talk right now, man. I don't know what the fuck's wrong with me. Go to r8dmgaming.com. That's ratedmgaming.com. If you want to learn about Rated M for podcasts, go to ratedmgaming.com/aboutrated.m. Spell it out, RATEDM. And I'm fucking psyched. I'm actually more excited about your section of the 24-hour stream than I am about my section of the 24-hour stream now. So thanks a lot for that, Rory. Appreciate it. Red Eye Games Live just showing us up.
What?
Whatever.
It's not about showing anybody up. Now I'm going to tone it back down. All I want to do for you guys is try and provide a fun part of the stream, and in which the whole team is going to do. It's going to be a great time all the way from 12 a.m., starting off with Drew and the guys at Podcast Evolved, and moving through the Smartwatch podcast and Gaming on Thrones podcast.
Lady's going to do her thing.
Everybody is going to do a great job, and that's what it's about. It's just a team of people coming together. There's no competition. It's just having a good time.
Swag. I look forward to it, man. And honestly, Master Chief Collection just in general has me super fucking stoked. I can't wait. I'm really excited. I'm really excited to get. We're gonna be doing Mangoose and stuff. Rory's finally gonna fucking join the Podcast Evolved community so he can actually play some Halo with people.
Yeah. I'm gonna try and jump in because the game launches I think 9 p.m. Pacific for those that have the digital copy. I could be wrong. Maybe it is midnight Pacific too. I just thought it was like 12 a.m. Eastern across the board.
Yeah, it might be. It might.
So
I mean,
we'll
this
find
is
out,
a.
but I'm gonna dive into the Forge as soon as I can and start getting refamiliarizing myself because it's been since Halo Reach basically.
Cool. Well, I'm excited. All right. Well, I want to thank everybody for joining us in the chat. Remember, we broadcast live every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern over at twitch.tv/ratedm for podcast. You can check us out at Rated M Gaming. Like I said before, that page has the links to our Twitter, all of the episodes in the past, RSS feed, iTunes, all that shit. So we will see you guys next week. Thanks, everybody.
Later.